When you have conversations with people about the founder's journey, taking them from one stage to another, particularly starting as an explorer, going to become a builder, going to become an operator, then a growth founder, then a visionary founder, the first thing they want to do is to skip the explorer stage and move quickly to builder. And I'm like, you're missing out on something, because most people believe that when founders move from one stage to another, that they stay at the top. So you just continue to go from explorer to builder to becoming an operator to growth founder to visionary founder. Once you get there, that's the pinnacle. You stay there. You never come down. No, that's not the truth. The reality of the matter is that every single time a founder releases a new product, or they go into a new market, or they start offering a new service, they create a new technology, or they're running a new business, that forces that particular founder to go back to becoming an explorer. And that's right, because it's at the explorer stage you discover new opportunities. But wait a minute. When they go back to the explorer, what exactly happens? That's what we're going to look at now. Now, I want to remind you of my own journey. A few years ago, we decided that we're going to start offering people the consultancy service of helping them to put together applications for grant funding. Yeah, prior to that, I had done a few grant funding applications, but I wouldn't say I was an expert then. So what I had to do was to go back to what it takes to create an opportunity and discover an opportunity. I went back to the explorer. I was already doing something else, but I had to go back to the explorer stage and learn again, discover an opportunity, think about the clients I want to sell to, think about how I wanted to sell to them, and then began to build that business from bottom up. That's what happened. Because every time you return to the explorer stage, you return with new capabilities. The capabilities you acquired when you first went through that particular journey remains with you. In fact, they do actually compound. Now, that's the hidden truth that every founder goes back to being an explorer whenever they're releasing a product or going into a new market or offering a new service. Here's another story. It's a story of Grant Cardone. Grant put out this trial once, and he said to people that he could go to a new city and go buy a property within a week. And he just went with little money where nobody really knew him. And he went up there. Somebody would say, oh, he got lucky. No, they missed the point. The reason why he was able to buy a property within a week or two was because when he went there, he went with the capabilities he had already acquired. He knew what questions to ask. He knew how to spot the risks, and he knew how to recognize opportunities. That's why he could go to a new place and do exactly what he had been doing in his own current business. Think about Tony Robbins, same thing. Tony Robbins now explores AI on a huge scale. How is he able to do that? Not because he knows everything, but because he knows how to explore. He knows how to transfer the capabilities he has as a successful business owner to exploring AI and putting out AI programs and courses like he's doing right now. So here's the deal. To be blunt, every successful founder becomes an explorer again. And the explorer and the builder stage is the most revisited stages in the life of every founder. Even if Jeff Bezos was to create a new product right now, or all the products that you see on Amazon, like Amazon Prime, Amazon Sports, and all those, he had to go back to the explorer stage for him to be able to do those. Otherwise, it will not be possible. So Here's the biggest myth. People think successful founders stop exploring. No, actually, Google gives their staff certain hours in the month for them to create side products. And those side products become the big things. What are those side products? They're exploration products. They're explorative. That's what they're doing. They're exploring. They're thinking, okay, can this work? This new idea, is it great? Okay, does it have grounds to sell? That's what they're doing. They're going back to being explorer, and they do this on a regular basis because the best businesses and the best founder never stop learning, testing, and adapting. So why should you? The point is that every time you return to being an explorer, you return with new capabilities. You return with what you have generated before, plus what you're going to generate now. So your experiences compound over time, and you become more of an expert when you return to the explorer stage. Okay, let me tell you why experienced founders move faster. So sometimes you take a look at a founder that just released a new product, and you're thinking, wow, how did they go so fast? It's not because they have more money, trust me. It's because they have learned how to ask the right questions. They have learned how to recognize hidden opportunities that exist in the market. They have learned how to spot hidden risks that you and I may not consider. They already know, oh, that's going to be a risk at some point. They understand what constraints they're going to be faced, and then they understand how to adapt faster. That's why it looks like when a successful business person gets into a particular industry, wow, you're just like, whoa, they just move so fast. Well, that's the reason why they move fast, because they've been down that road so many times. Because now what happens is that their capabilities has now compounded. All right. Here is your challenge today. What I want you to do today, I want you to think about one opportunity you've been avoiding, and then ask yourself, what capabilities have I already developed that can help me explore it? And take one small step towards it this week. Think about an opportunity. Maybe you're at the stage where you want to release a new product, or you want to release a new service. All right. What capabilities have you developed already that can help you move there? Let me tell you something that I noticed as well. I was saying this yesterday. I run, there's something called parkrun in the UK. I think it's all over the world. It's called the parkrun for those of us who know it. Every Saturday, you gather together with the community of people and you run a 5K. And I noticed something. Sometimes you have new people who would come to our parkrun, and then that person for the first time, they're running the parkrun for the first time, or they're running for the first time, actually, with some of them, and they will run the parkrun in 27 minutes on average. But the average time that most runners run the parkrun in the UK is 30 minutes. So these people are running the parkrun faster than the average, and it's their first time. So I often go up to them and ask them, oh, how did you do today? And they tell me, oh, yeah, they did well. They ran in 27 minutes, some of them 25 minutes, some of them 28 minutes. And I'm thinking to myself, wow, the first time I ran it in 45 minutes or something like that. So how comes they're doing it in less than nearly half the time that it's taking me? I'm thinking, oh, that it took me. I'm like, whoa. So I then ask them follow-up questions like, oh, have you done any exercise before you came here? And for most of them, they said, yeah, but not parkrun. I said, okay, so what have you done? I discovered that some of them had done horse riding, some of them swam very regularly, some of them cycled very regularly, some of them were into boxing, some of them went into, they were in the gym 4 times a week. And I discovered that when people did that and they came to run, albeit for the first time, they always ran faster because they brought with them capabilities of another sport into this particular one. So that's exactly what happens to you when you go back to the explorer stage. You return with different capabilities and abilities. So if you want to release a product, you're thinking about how to do it, you know you have to go back to the explorer stage. Don't be embarrassed. It's actually a good place to go. You're going to discover that you yourself might return like an experienced founder, where you ask better questions, you recognize hidden opportunities, you spot hidden risks, you understand constraints, and you adapt faster. Why? Because your capabilities have compounded over time. So do this Founder's Journey Challenge. Ask yourself, what capabilities do you have already that you can use to exploit the next business that you're thinking about? All right. Founders don't suddenly arrive, they evolve. If you have not completed the Founder's Journey Assessment, you need to do that first. Please go below and get the free Founder's Journey Assessment tool, where it will help you to discover what stage you are at and what you need to do next. All right. I'll catch up with you soon.